YouTubers, what is going on? Thank you for stopping by. My name is JC. This is the Cuban Redneck DIY channel where we do cooking and grilling videos on Tuesdays, DIY stuff for all types on Fridays. Welcome back to the kitchen. Well, today we're going to be making a classic flan, or what is often referred to as flan de leche. This flan recipe is a little bit different than the ones we've done before, primarily because we're going to try to make this on a budget or as cheap as possible. If you're here looking for DIY stuff, do me a favor, man. Just click on the title of the channel, where you will find a dedicated playlist to every topic that we cover. So why another flan recipe video? Well, more than once I've received messages asking how to make a flan on the cheap, how to make it more affordable. This last message having to do quite of a lengthy one, and I appreciate that because sometimes it is difficult to decipher the one-liners. Nevertheless, this lady made my Cuban flan recipe for a gathering and everybody loved it. Now she's getting people are approaching her and they want to buy this from her. The issue is that when she went to the store and compared her list of ingredients to what she can buy a ready-made flan at Walmart or Publix, things didn't quite add up. More than likely she is comparing a flan that is made with condensed and evaporated milk to one that is made with just whole milk. That is often called a flan de leche or cream caramel, and the recipe I want to share with you is pretty much it's a restaurant recipe, and it's how to make a flan that you can get by, and it's very, very economical compared to one that is made with condensed and evaporated. If this is of interest, please stay tuned. Do not fast forward. I'm going to take you through several steps. I am going to make it in the Instapot just for time's sake, but you can do this on a stovetop, you can do it in the oven, and you got some options. Check this out. As with any flan recipe, we're going to start by making a caramel, but making a standard dry caramel is not very efficient if we're going to make multiple flans. For that reason, I'm going to make a caramel consisting of 2 parts of sugar, 1 part water. This type of caramel cooks in about half the time and is a lot easier to pour. Unlike a dry caramel, we're going to cook this over medium heat until it starts to develop some color, at which time we're going to reduce the heat to the lowest setting, and as soon as it reaches the desired dark amber color, we're going to go ahead and pour it into the flan mold. After washing the saucepan or choosing a different one, we're going to make the caramel base for the cream caramel. This time we're going to use an equal parts sugar and water. If you notice, I'm using spring water rather than tap water. This is something that many chefs I have worked for insist on using, especially when making caramel or baking. While that comes to temperature, let's heat up 2 cups of milk in the microwave. We don't need to boil it, it just needs to be hot to the touch. As before, we're going to lower the heat once it starts to show some color. And once we get something that looks like honey, we're going to start adding the milk a little bit at a time while whisking it. We need to stir this until the caramel is fully dissolved in the milk, and then we're going to set it aside and let it cool down a little. Once it does, we're going to taste it for sweetness, and then add sugar and vanilla accordingly. The mixture needs to taste overly sweet, with a strong hint of vanilla, like a concentrate. That is because once we add the eggs, it will mild down by almost half. Once you have achieved the desired taste profile, let's add the eggs to the blender jar. Note that I'm using 5 eggs because I'm making this for my guests, but if you're selling flans, 4 eggs will do. Also, if you're using a Ninja blender like this one, 10 to 15 seconds will do. However, in a regular blender, you may need a little bit more time. Pour the mixture into the flanela or flan mold and let's cook our flan. I'm going to be cooking this flan recipe in the Instapot just to save time. In the Instapot in pressure cook mode in high takes 30 minutes, but you can also make it at stove top or in the oven. Either way you do it, I will recommend that you use one of these things that are called trivets. It's basically a spacer so that the flan or flanera doesn't touch the bottom of the saucepan. Something else I want to highlight, you don't want to have the keep warm button off on actually, because once the flan is done, you want the pressure cooker to start losing steam. If you leave the keep warm, it will just keep cooking, and that will make, if you overcook the flan, you're gonna get like a rough texture to it. It's not gonna be as silky. Later that evening, and after letting the flan de leche sit in the refrigerator for about 5 hours, it is time to flip the mold. Run a dull knife around the edge of the flan mold and shake it left to right. This will loosen the flan from the mold. Flip it and let it stand for about a minute or two, at which time you can lift the mold. Folks, please don't let cost keep you from enjoying this awesome flan recipe. I thank you for watching, and I will see you next week with a new recipe. Please support this channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. Thank you.